Many of us, whether you are interested in finance or not, will be familiar with the term interest rate. This is normally where you give your money to a bank or an institution and they give you a small percentage of a return in order for them to keep your money and use it how they wish. What if I was to tell you there is a way for you to get interest on your interest? This is called compound interest, and this is how compound interest can make you wealthy. In terms of simple interest, it does what it says on the tin, really. It's very, very simple. So let's look at an example here. I've got this interest calculator in front of me. I will leave a link in the description in case you want to check it out for yourself. But let's say, for example here, that we've got $1,000. It's in dollars because it's an American website, and there's an interest rate of 5%. Now, obviously, I know this is very optimistic. At the moment, the interest rates are terrible, regardless of kind of wherever you put your money. So this is a generalization, and to keep it simple, let's say that you want to put your money in for 10 years and see what you get. So in order to calculate the return on this, it's very, very straightforward. It's literally 5% of $1,000 every year, as long as your interest rate is calculated annually. So after 10 years, as you can see down here, you'll have $1,500. This is assuming that you don't put any more in, like every year or every month, and it just stays at 1,000. The interest rate that you would get after 10 years would be $500. So as you can see, year one, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50. So it's nice and straightforward and simple to understand. Over the 10 years, you've got $500 left in interest. Now, let's look at the same example, but where the interest compounds. So this does sometimes happen with savings accounts, but also with kind of investments and stuff, which we're going to look at in a bit more detail a bit later in this video. So using the same example here, we're going to say that we've got $1,000 and that we have an interest rate of 5%, but that the interest compounds, and it compounds annually. So essentially, we've got the same amount that you've put in. So you've got $1,000, and again, this is assuming that you don't put any more in throughout the time that it's invested over the 10 years. So as you can see, straight away, the interest is on top of the interest. So year one, you've got $50, year two, $52.50, year three, $55.13, and all the way at the end, you're getting $77.57 based on the interest. So overall, your interest is $628.89. So that is $128 better off just because the interest is compounded regularly over 10 years. With compound interest, the important thing to remember is that it's really, really effective over the long term. So in these examples, we've looked at 10 years, which is a relatively short period of time when we're looking at money and looking at saving. And also, the more that you're able to save and put towards it each month or each year, that's going to help your compounding even more. The more you can put in, the earlier, the better that you're going to be. So let's look at a couple of examples where compounding is done over the long term. So in this example, we're going to assume that you have an investment of $10,000 to put in when you initially start, and we're going to use the same example. So it's 5% interest rate, and you're going to do it over 10 years, but this time you're going to invest $200 every single month. So that's money that comes out of your paycheck and straight into your savings account or whatever this might be that you're getting 5% interest rate on. So let's have a look at how this impacts it. So as you can see, after 10 years, you'll have $47,000, and $13,000 of that is interest. And this is assuming that it compounds annually once again. So as you can see, the interest rate here rises a lot more rapidly purely because you're able to put more in each month. So the investment that you're putting in each month, or each year, sorry, is $2,400. This is $200 per month times 12. By the end of the 10 years, the interest that you're getting every single year is $2,198. So that's almost up to your initial investment, or what you're putting in each year, and you're getting that for free in interest. So you can kind of see from that example just how important it is and how much of a difference it can make to kind of keep putting money in, like on a regular basis, so that interest can grow and grow and grow over time. So this is all very good in theory, but how does it work in practice? So what we're going to do now is we're going to look at an example. So say if you were to invest in something like the S&P 500, so with an ETF or an index fund, so something that tracks the largest 500 companies in America. So on average, this has returned 8% year on year. I know I'm keeping it very, very simple here, and there's a lot of factors that I'm not accounting for, such as inflation, such as massive financial crashes, etc., etc. But we're going to keep it simple so that it's kind of easy to understand. So we're going to use exactly the same example. We're going to use $10,000 again, but we're going to use an 8% interest rate, assuming that the S&P 500 grows 8% year on year. We're also going to assume that you're able to invest $200 every single month. And this time we're going to say that this person, I don't know, we'll give her a name. What should we call her? Susan. Susan is currently 35 years old and she wants to retire at 60 years old. So in between 35 and 60, she's got 25 years for her investment to compound. So let's just see how that affects her amount of money. So after 25 years, she will have $250,000. Well done, Susan. Good job. Good saving. So in that time, she will have her initial investment will be $10,000. Her regular investment, so each year, will have equated to $60,000, and in interest, she will have gained a staggering $181,000, which is almost three times what she's actually put in. So how does this impact us kind of year on year? So as you can see here, the interest rate steadily grows month on month because it's growing based on what she's already got in there. So it's not like your simple interest where it's the same each month. It grows and grows and grows because it goes on everything that you've got, including the interest that you earned so far. So down here, you can see this is after about six years that she's able to get more in interest every single year than she's putting in. So this just shows how important it is to compound interest. And then at the end, you can see she's getting $18,500 in interest, which is like 9 times as much as she's putting in over the course of the year. So that's a relatively simple example. Let's now say and look even more long term, and let's look at John. Let's say that John is currently 25 years old and he's in exactly the same situation and we've got exactly the same circumstances, but that he's 25 years old and he's also looking to retire at 60. So this gives him 35 years in which for his interest and for his investment to grow. Let's see how that impacts John. So after 35 years, John will have $579,000 and $485,000 of that will be in interest. So if you compare the two, so just because John's got 10 years more investment and compounding than Susan, he's ended up with $300,000 more in interest. And if that doesn't tell you what the value of compound interest is, then I don't know what will. And also the value of starting earlier, it's monumental. Let's have a look and break it down. I know this might not be the most interesting thing, but I quite like these graphs and stuff. And the interest growth that you can see there is just absolutely insane. So once we get down to 35 here, he's still only investing $2,400 a year. I know I say only, that's a lot, don't get me wrong, but in return he's getting $42,815 in his 35th year of compounding. Of course, it's not going to be as simple as this in reality, but for an example, and just so you can see kind of how it all works, this is really, really important to look at. So it can also work on the other way in terms of compound interest when you're paying debts, which is why it's important to try and pay off your debts as soon as possible. And if you want to kind of see how to manage your finances or how to get your finances in check, I've already done a video on that, which you can check out there. But let me know, what are your plans for compound interest, and are you planning to take advantage of it? When are you going to start investing so that you can kind of take advantage of this? And yeah, other than that, I'll hopefully see you in the next one.